Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach. Today we have with us Susie Carder, who is a profit coach, speaker, and entrepreneur. Susie, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me. And thanks, Mike, for everything that you do. You're a little powerhouse, rock star, bringing all the best of the best. So thank you so much. We need more people like you.
Well, it's interesting that you said powerhouse because your book is called Power Your Profits. So you must have power as one of your phrases you love to use. So let's jump right in and talk about your book. What is Power Your Profits all about?
Well, Power Your Profits is a 30-year journey of how I went from bootstrapping businesses to building multi-million-dollar businesses, and it is truly the roadmap. Only 1.7% of small businesses hit the $1 million mark. That's a tragedy when you think about it. Like, how is that possible? And the reality is we just don't know the system. We don't know the strategy. 15% of our financial success is our technical ability. So that's our vocation. That's if we are an attorney, a doctor, a speaker, a coach. Only 15% of how we make our money is because of the vocation piece. And the other 85% is what we talk about in Power Your Profits. You know, I've built 10 companies, two $10 million companies, and it was a journey of blood, sweat, and tears, you know, bloody knees, bloody elbows. And I'm like, I gotta help my community figure this out because it doesn't have to be hard. It just has to be tactical.
Well, and I think that too many times, just maybe this is an observation, and it's one of the things you've seen in your career, too many times people have so much information at their fingertips, online and whatnot, that they get shiny object syndrome and they see something work for this person, so I'm going to try that. But then here comes this other thing, and they never gave the first thing enough time to actually work and get traction before they jump off to do something else. Have you seen that as well?
Oh, my gosh, that's one of my analogies, Mike. So when I look at, think about like when you were in school and you had that combination lock, remember the dial one? And if you were in a hurry, you could never open that sucker, right? And so then slow down, let me do the numbers. You could have the right numbers with one tick off and that lock won't open, right? And the reality is that's business. You could have the right strategy at the wrong time or the right strategy in the wrong budget. You can have the one little tick off and the money's not going to occur for you, right? The results aren't going to occur for you. So it's looking at what's my combination and my niche with my ideal client to open that. And it doesn't, again, I want to just take the scariness away. It doesn't have to be hard. We're make $1 million too hard, right? It gets scary for people. So when you know the combination to your lock, your business, your specific niche that you're in, game changer. Was a game changer for me, right? I struggled for years going, there's got to be an easier way, right? Which is, there's a whole strategy to this.
Well, and I agree. I mean, it's been said, I forget who said it, probably a lot of motivational speakers, but success leaves clues. So let's find that combination. Let's find that path to success. But I guess what I would say is, how do you know which one to follow, which person to model, because there's a lot of people out there saying, I've got the way. No, I've got the way.
Right. And, and there are a lot of great experts, but if it's in the wrong order, which I find a lot of people start marketing before they're even really clear who they're marketing to, and they start marketing to fans. Your social media fans, people in your database are not necessarily qualified unless you really spend a lot of time qualifying everybody you put in your database. I get really clear. I'd rather have less leads, but have quality leads and qualified leads in order to get the numbers that I need. If you look at even qualified leads, people who could, what's qualified? Let's get really clear, right? They're in your niche, they're in your demographic, they're in your psychographic, and the caveat, Mike, is they can swipe their credit card.
Yeah.
Right? It's not your magic 8-ball. Can they do it? Like, they have the resources to. And even when they have the resources to, the average person in sales will close 1 in 10. So if you're not speaking to the right people, that 1 in 10 will go, it'll be 1 in 20, and then you'll feel like a loser. Then you'll want to give up, and then it's this vicious cycle of, I can't do this. It's hard. No, you're just marketing to the wrong people. You're not getting that qualified person in front of you. I learned that the hard way. But I started out as a hairdresser, right? And I'm like, I got to figure out how to get in front of people who can afford my services. I'm like, corporate women. So I went and started doing lunch and learns. Well, I didn't know how to speak back in the day. I was horrible, Mike, but I just did it. I said, these are my people. These are the qualified people. And as bad as I was, there was 25 women in the room, and I closed 5 people. I was ecstatic because it would have taken me in advertising dollars and in going to networking meetings 10 times longer than what I did in 1 hour. So I'm like, aha, there's something here. Get in front of your qualified customer. And this was 30 years ago, right? Get in front of that qualified customer, and you never have to sell again. Get in front of unqualified people, then you've got to really start looking at, all right, what are the objections? And let me try to cajole them, manipulate to get them to say yes. Quit trying to do that. Let's find the people that love and adore you and need what you have, and they can swipe their card.
Well, let's go a little bit deeper there, because depending on your industry, getting in front of the right person is so critical. But also that target audience, that person that is in your best customer, best prospect, is also in front of other people's they are also other people's best customer. So they're getting hit up on all angles from a variety of ways. So my question to you would be, what do you recommend to stand out and get that attention, so at least you get the at-bat to explain what you do to maybe transform that person's life and not get caught up in the noise of whatever else they're experiencing?
Well, I think that's a juicy conversation, right? When I look at statistically, there was over 4 million brand new businesses launched during COVID, which is exciting. Wow. And so you talked about partners. Yes, there's a lot of people that are doing same, but different. I grew my businesses by finding those strategic partners that I was in complement with, not competition with. So how can I be a service to you and your community? And note the word service. I'm not saying how can I sell to your community, Mike. I'm saying how can I serve you? How can I serve this community? What can I bring? What tools can I bring? What resources can I bring? Build the relationship first. So if you're working with someone that already has an existing database, if Mike says, Susie's amazing, then their clients are like, oh, Mike's already vetted her. He already thinks she's amazing. Let me see what she's about. Now I'm in front of a qualified lead because you've done a lot of work getting people to show up on your platform. So I want you to look at strategic partners, and it has to be reciprocal. It's not my hands out going, Mike, what can you do for me? Do me. Like, I think small business and entrepreneurs can be really self-centered, and their egos can get in the way to go, wait, let's take a back seat for a second and go, let's work smart, not hard. Let me cultivate these relationships. Let me figure out how I can serve that market, what I can do, what value that I can bring so that people can get the results they desire. Right, I always come from my client first. How do I help my client? How do I help my consumer? Right? I always say you can be in business for yourself, not by yourself. We could be lonelypreneurs. This could be a lonely journey on the struggle bus all by yourself. I'd rather, because we're going to struggle. That's just business. We're going to go through the highs and the lows and the ebbs and the flows of, especially right now in this economy. Right. If I look at, there was a recent survey done by Inc. magazine, and they said 47% of small businesses are going out of business in this year, right, in this economy. To go, wait, hold on, right? We're just not being strategic. Let's look at this. Can be an amazing opportunity. I've seen so many new businesses pop up and so many new opportunities pop up, right? Part of it's our mindset of, is it gloom and doom or is it opportunity? Some of the biggest companies have been built inside of a recession. If you look at Google, if you look at YouTube, if you look at some huge companies inside of a recession, inside of a down economy were birthed. It's, are you willing to risk it? And that's the scary part, right? Like, I don't want to risk. I don't want to jump in. It's too scary.
But if you don't, then you stay stuck right where you're at.
Exactly.
And are you happy there? And, on a scale of 1 to 10, are you happy there? Well, a lot of people would go, not really, but what's worse, staying where you're at or taking a little bit of a risk? Now, calculated risk. So I would like to clarify that by saying, shoot, you could risk, and say, okay, I'm quitting my job and I'm going to start a business that I know nothing about, and there's a risk, so it's going to work. No, it's not. You got to have a calculated risk. You got to have, advisors around you. You've got to have some experience. You've got to, in this day and age, like you said, with businesses starting in COVID, boy, we're at a day and age where we've got technology and you can start a business as a side hustle and test the waters and proof of concept, all of that. Whereas back in the day, you had to quit your job and start something, and now it makes it so much easier.
Right. 80% of the businesses that I coach, they start a business and they've never put a plan together. Well, that's equivalent to going, okay, I know Mike is somewhere, and I'm going to go see him because he said he's in the U.S. And then, okay, I'm going to get in my car, and he said he's in North America, so let me go there. Where am I going? Like clueless of how am I going? How am I getting there? What do I need to charge? Right? Where are these people hanging out? And so we talk about in the Empower Your Profits, we look at step one is get the plan out of your head. Quit making it up. Yes, we can make it up in creation, but let's put it in a plan. Then go to pricing. To go, is this a viable, profitable business? Right? Profit is the money and the value that I bring to the business. Profit isn't what's left over. And so a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we're like, okay, I might be doing $250,000, $10 million, but is it profitable? We know statistically 88% of small businesses aren't profitable. And of that 1.7% of those businesses that are doing $1 million, one, the owner's not paying themselves a proper paycheck of what you would be paid if you went to a corporation, right? And two, they're not profitable. So it's like, wait, why are we working this hard? Because we're not putting the plan in place. We're not strategically looking at, here's what I have to charge, like no kidding. That I don't know for you, Mike, if you went through the same process of you put a price point because you go, oh, what does Mike charge? What does Susie charge? What does Bob charge? What does Cheryl charge? And then we create pricing. But we don't know if their pricing was built on dysfunction, right, which it probably was. To go, hold on, wait a minute, let's look at what does your price have to be. It took me years to figure this out. I have a whole chapter called Math is Money, Money is Fun, because nobody likes to do math. This is my experience working with entrepreneurs. Nobody wants to do it unless you're a CFO, which small businesses don't have that skill set yet. But the freedom that money gives us, the opportunity that money gives us, the resources money gives us, right, allows us to live a life that can be unimaginable. My life is completely unrecognizable because of being an entrepreneur. I've traveled all over the world. I've been able to send my children to the best schools in the country. I've had my dream home, dream vacations because I'm an entrepreneur, right? That's a life worth living. And by the way, I'm making a difference for people along the way. Like I'm in my God-given talent, right? I believe my gift from God is my life, and my gift back to God is what do I do with my life? Yeah.
You bring up a huge point about the numbers, and we don't have time to go into it here, but I want to make an observation and then just get your thoughts on that, which you see so many times, on Shark Tank, oh, we did $1 million in revenue. Wonderful. But we had $1.4 million in expenses. Oops. So you better know your numbers, and it's not just a matter of, well, we need to increase our sales. It's like pouring money in a bucket and then run it out of the holes. You need to plug up the holes and increase the sales also. So what do you say to someone? Maybe it's the mindset, like you mentioned a minute ago, but maybe it is the approach. It's you've got to have that 360-degree holistic approach, because it cannot just be, we need more sales. You might have some things internally that are leaking out as well. Is that a good assumption?
Yeah, that's why it's important to have business advisors, business coaches, right? A coach will show you what you don't want to see, which is the holes. Nobody wants to see the holes. I don't want to see the holes, but I do want to see the holes, right? I want to bring somebody in that's 10 steps ahead of me so that I can not make the same mistakes, right? It's so worth investing in a really good coach. And, a coach can see what you can't see. A coach will show you what you don't and tell you what you don't want to hear so you could be the person you knew that you could be. And it really is a business relationship. You have to have chemistry with that person, and more importantly, do your due diligence to say, did they actually do what they say, or are they teaching theory? Because we all know, Mike, in this industry, there's a lot of people teaching theory, but like you'll hear someone, you're like, that doesn't work. Like when you're a seasoned business person, you've tried it all, done it all, like, okay.
And you bring up a good point about having some good mentors or people or advisors around you. So pick them well. And I would even say maybe, I know that there's, I think Kevin Harrington is co-author of a book focused on mentors and finding a mentor. And I feel like that is something that a lot of people don't realize is an option or an opportunity. They feel like I better hire a consultant and pay big money, and that is an option and it's out there. But sometimes a mentor can be, hey, I've heard of this person, or they've I've read their book, or I bought their course. Maybe it could be an indirect mentorship where you're just really consuming everything they are providing, or it could actually be, let's strike up a friendship or a mentor relationship. So that becomes then an element of being guided.
Absolutely. I remember when I first, launched my first business, right? That was back in the day. I owned a salon and spa, and I had to figure out how do I do the marketing. I would go to the bookstore, right? I would read the book in the bookstore. Then I would go to the used bookstore and go buy it for, pennies on the dollar. So maybe $1.50 versus paying $20 in a bookstore. And those were my mentors, right? I just followed the strategy from my referral campaigns to putting a marketing plan together to putting a sales plan together, just opened my eyes to this whole other level of business. And until I could really afford then to hire someone, right? And the first time I hired my first coach, I invested $1,200. I remember it because it felt like you might as well said $1 million back then, right? $1,200.
Yeah.
He helped me put my business plan together. And that's when I realized my pricing didn't even support my overhead. I had to work 10 times harder and try to get everybody else to work 10 times harder because our pricing was off. So sometimes just, go back to that combination lock, a couple little tweaks can make the difference between profitability, paying your bills or not paying your bills, right? And as you get bigger, cash flow can be tricky because the cash flow can have you be in the delusion that you have money, right? Because there's money in the bank, but it's not really profitable because you're not really looking at it, from a profit and loss standpoint. You're looking at cash flow. Well, cash flow doesn't mean profit and loss.
Yes.
And I sound really nerdy as I'm having this conversation. I'm really not that nerdy, but it was such a pain point for me, Mike. I sucked at it so bad that I'm like, I have to learn this so that I don't follow the statistics. And I was tired of having to work for free, if you will. And we've all been there.
I agree 100%. And sometimes, and this is a frustration in human nature, you learn some lessons. Like you could probably list off 58 lessons you've learned in your career, and you want to save the next entrepreneur from making those same mistakes, and so you're going to teach, and then it goes in one ear and out the other. And sometimes people just need to learn the hard way, but at least then they can gravitate right back to what you've said when they kind of start getting in the midst of it. So that's then becomes your vision and passion and cause. So I just really applaud what you're doing, and I would encourage any listener to pick up a copy of your book, Power Your Profits: How to Take Your Business from $10,000 to $10 million. And I love the little kind of the tagline, profit coach and creator of the predictable success method. Everyone wants to be successful. They want to follow a method, and we love when things are predictable. So I just really think that's wonderful. So Susie, if you can just wrap up with, final thought, and then what's the best way that people can reach out, connect with you, and pick up a copy of your book?
Awesome. So what I want to say, go to my website and purchase a book there because you get over $6,800 worth of bonuses. I know, Bananarama. So you pay $26.88, and I give you $6,000 worth of bonuses. Where else do you get that kind of ROI but your profit coach? That's what we do. So Go to my website, susiecarder.com. Go there to order the book, and then you'll get all those delicious bonuses to help you grow your business, excel your business, and have the life that you love.
Awesome. Susie, thank you so much for coming on today. It was really a pleasure connecting with you.
Mike, thank you. And again, thank you for all you do for our industry. You're a rock star. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.